Congressman Ellzey, it's good to see you again here. Congress has finally reopened the government, but we're going to go through this again, it sounds like, because funding only lasts till January 30th of next year. Do you expect we're going to see a repeat of what we've seen the last 45 days or so?
I don't think so, because the American people got hurt. All sides are paying a price, and especially the American people, the air traffic control, the military families, everybody has paid a price. Nobody wins in this except our adversaries who are watching this overseas. So I don't think there's a spirit for this going forward anymore. Macbeth Schumer has done it once again, where he exhibited sound and fury, signifying nothing, got nothing out of the deal except a vote in the Senate and 40 days of American shutdown, with a lot of families hurting. So I don't anticipate this will happen again January 30th. The Appropriations Committee's heads have been of the subcommittees, the chairs of the subcommittees and their ranking members have been working behind the scenes since the shutdown to make sure that these bills are ready to go. So I anticipate that after this first tranche of 3 that we pass tonight and signed by the president, the government should open up at midnight tonight, and we'll have 9 more bills to pass. Some of them working through the Senate and the House, getting together on a conference, others passing through, and we're going to get this done far sooner than that.
You're talking about everyone paying a price. I mean, politically, who pays the price?
Everybody. The
You
American
think so?
people do, the Republicans, the Democrats. The one who's paid the highest price is Chuck Schumer, and because he was in a catch-22 as far as he could tell. He's trying to stave off the communists in New York. And I say that because socialism is an economic plan. The only way you enforce that is through forcefully taking people's money. So he's pushing against AOC, Mamdani in New York, and so is Hakeem Jeffries. But once again, Mr. Schumer's been doing this in Congress for 45 years. He's been in Congress since I was 10 years old, and he was in the state assembly for 5 years prior to that. He's never really done anything right, and he's failed upward the whole time. So if it's an idea that he has to do something, usually it's going to be a bad one.
A lot of people watching this might say, listen, why can't Congress agree to longer term funding than just every 70, 80 days or so?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, like I said, we're going to pass 3 full-year funding appropriations bills for 3 of the subcommittees that we have. We're going to have 9 coming through. I think we're going to have them done before January, and that's going to be better than we did last year on this. And I'd like to see it done in real time, but when you've got to get 60 votes in the Senate, that's where the whole thing comes into play. And Mike Johnson has done a masterful job as Speaker for the last 2 years, getting our conference to sign up with a 2-vote majority, at times a 3-vote majority, but now down to 1, to get these bills passed. He's done an incredible job, along with Steve Scalise and Tom Emmer, getting these bills passed. Then it gets over to the Senate, and it's a different deal entirely.
Part of the deal to get this done in the Senate was to hold a vote on whether to extend the health insurance subsidies that the Democrats were holding out for. Speaker Johnson has not agreed to do the same in the House. Do you expect that's going to happen in the House or only in the Senate?
No, sir, I can make that question. I can answer that one quickly. It's going to be a no. He's not bringing it up. And this is all they got out of 40 days of shutdown was a vote in the Senate. Like I said, sound and fury signifying nothing. He got nothing out of the deal except harm to Americans, American families, air traffic controllers, delays to the flight control, to the air traffic control system, delays in airlines, cancellations, and military families wondering when they're going to get paid next. So this has been an absolute disaster.
If these insurance subsidies are not extended, it's $40 billion, and people have opinions one way or the other. But if they are not extended, these health insurance subsidies, health insurance is going to cost a lot more for a lot of Texans.
Health insurance is always going to, it's a big issue. And as we said before, that's not something you negotiate on just to keep the government open. You have those negotiations afterwards. They're ongoing right now in the Senate. I'm not on any of the committees of oversight or purview over those. So I don't know what's going on with them. However, so here's what the deal is. They came up with a failed system called the Obamacare ACA. Then they added subsidies during COVID that they knew would run out. The Democrats passed them. They knew where they were run out. Now they want to make them permanent as if it's a mandatory spend. And it was an emergency bill that they passed on their own during COVID. And they knew they were going to run out. And now they want us to subsidize it some more. But they're also admitting to failure of the entire Obamacare system. And it hasn't been good for the American people since it started. Every promise that they made about Obamacare, I wasn't here, none of those have been true. And we're seeing the results of that now. But they're also just wanting to pay off the insurance companies, not helping out individuals. This money goes to the insurance companies. So that's also a failed system.
What do you say to those Texans, though, your constituents that are going to see these insurance companies raise rates?
That is something that is absolutely tragic, and for many of them, we're going to have to deal with that and see what's going on. But you're still not going to be denied health care anywhere in the state of Texas. If you need health care, you're going to get it.
Let me ask you about something we're watching here. The Trump administration refused to release the remaining files from the Epstein case. Now Democrats and Republicans are tit for tat on releasing thousands of files. Why is transparency taking so long on this?
The Oversight Committee has still drawing out these files. Remember, this didn't happen last year. Under a Democrat administration, a couple of them, in fact, these files were never released, and nobody knows why. So what we're going to see now is we're going to see a discharge petition. Grijalva is going to take the oath today at 4 o'clock. Before we vote, she'll be the 218th, and then the discharge petition will have 7 days to ripen. So we'll see what happens then. And those files are going to be coming from the Department of Justice. And I don't see anybody that I know that's against open records and transparency. So they're once again sound and fury signifying nothing. Those files are going to be released, and eventually they'll come out anyway. But they're trying to make a big issue of this as a political ploy, and so there will be a discharge petition, which several Republicans have signed on to. It'll hit the 218 threshold, and then it'll have a week to we call it ripen. We'll be back next week, and I'm sure it'll be addressed then.
Your name is not on the petition from Republican Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky to call a vote on releasing these.
Of course not.
Why not?
Of course not. I believe in the process working itself out, and discharge petitions, by and large, are not a good process by which we get things accomplished in government. It's certainly not regular order. It is a tool that is in the hands of certain people to get things across if they know that it's going to die in committee. But this is up to Thomas Massie, who's been on the thorn on the side of the president, and Mike Johnson. He is not a Republican. He is a libertarian who got elected under false pretense that he is a Republican, and that's just fine. But he is admittedly a libertarian, and he is at loggerheads with both the president and Speaker Johnson, and this is his way of getting back. As you know, he's got a primary opponent now, and I'm not involved in the politics of Kentucky, but this is what's going on with Mr. Massie.
How are you going to vote on this, though, when it comes to the floor?
It hasn't come to the floor.
Do you expect to support it, though?
I don't know what's on the discharge petition, and I'm waiting to see what happens further. We just got back. We're just about to open up the government again, and we'll see what happens with all of this. I'm as eagerly watching as you are to see what happens with all of this stuff. So there will be more to speak about tonight, and when Ms. Grijalva takes the oath, we'll see what happens then, and we'll see what happens next week, and I'm happy to talk about it next week.
Congressman Ellzey, good to see you again.
Thank you, Jason.